In this video, we're going to look at a blue shimmering ink by Diamine Shimmering Seas. As always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the blue ink playlist, so if you wanted to see more, you can find that there. I'm an ink guy. Let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, no spread, no shading in the writing, but the extra fine does show itself a bit lighter than the medium, and the medium's a little lighter than the stub. The extra fine took 5 seconds to dry, while the medium took 8. The scrubby for both give no color variation. We're not getting it in the writing, and the smear test you could probably recover if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Noodler's Neponset with a music nib was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, no spread, no shading in the stub, although we do see a little bit of shading show up in the extra fine, but none in the medium. That tone variation on camera is where the shimmer is more. The extra fine and the medium are about the same tone. Again, it's about the shimmer on camera, and they're a little lighter than the stub. The extra fine took 9 seconds to dry, while the medium took 14. Scrubby for both aren't really giving color variation. We really don't get it in the writing, and a smear test you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see the shimmer staying in place at the line, and the rest of this blue pushing its way up, gathering towards the top. But above all of that dark blue is a much lighter blue, so this is two different dyes that are mixed. Now the one on the right that's allowed to dry for 10 minutes, really what's standing out to me is the amount of darker blue that is staying down at the bottom, which gives the idea that it might be a little bit resistant. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding and no ghosting. We get no feather, no spread, no shading in the stub, but a couple of dark spots that show themselves in the extra fine, and a few dark spots that show themselves in the medium, so it does have the ability to do it. Now the extra fine's a little bit lighter than the medium, and the medium's a little lighter than the stub. Extra fine took 6 seconds to dry, while the medium took 10. Scrubby for both do show some color variation, and we do get it in the writing. You just have to look at an angle so that you're not overcome with the shimmer. The smear test says you could likely recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink could be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. This smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it basically holds together. The very bottom of that capital H did have a slight blowout, but most everything is really there and easy to read. Now personally, that little bit of blowout means I probably would not use it, but I do think you could have some confidence in a note-taking situation if you wanted to go back and highlight. Water's moving most of this ink out of the way, but leaving some of that darker blue still on the paper. Pen flush is breaking some of that darker blue down, making it much lighter. Now it really did only take water to get this out of my pen. The 1/3 bleach solution that you're not gonna need does completely remove it from the paper. The next writing sample is done on original Crown Mill paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, no spread, no shading in any of the writing. Now the medium and the stub come in at the same darker tone. The extra fine comes in much lighter than the two of them. Extra fine took 6 seconds to dry, while medium took 9. The scrubby for both gave no color variation. We didn't get any shading in the writing, and the smear test says you could probably recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Diamine's Shimmering Seas has a viscosity of 1.7, making this a wet ink. The next writing sample is done on Apica CD paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, no spread, no shading in any of the writing, and it's, again, about the angle that the lights are hitting it at. All of these are coming in at the same tone of writing, just I can't get rid of some of that shine that's going on with the extra fine that makes it look lighter here. The extra fine took 5 seconds to dry, while the medium took 8. Scrubby for both are giving no color variation. We're not getting shading in the writing. In a smear test, you probably could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Diamine Shimmering Seas has an average dry time of 9 seconds, so this is a very fast drying ink. The last writing sample is done on Franklin Christoph paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, no spread, no shading whatsoever, no tone variation between them. Very consistent here. The extra fine took 4 seconds to dry, while the medium took 6. Nice. And the scrubby for both give no color variation. There's none in the writing. The smear test you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like Diamine's Shimmering Seas, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I went with an orange ink by Robert Oster, their Orange Zest. Now, if you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to those playlists. So what do I think of this shimmering ink by Diamine Shimmering Seas? This is a dark blue that looks much darker because of this shimmer. I find at times the shimmer pools a little, really making that part sparkle much more where it would normally be darker. So what nib and pen are going to give the best writing experience with this ink? As is frequently the case with shimmering inks, you really need to use a very wet, broad, or fire hose of a medium nib or pen in order to avoid clogging. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video, we're going to look at Sailor Kobe number 21.